from 6 centuries of her murderous rampage. In the Bible, the Holy Spirit foretold her lust for power and for blood, and history has recorded some of the gruesome details of that. And the second Roman Catholic historian that I can quote from is Lord Acton, who's made famous for his observation, with the Mother Roman Catholic Church firmly in mind, that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And he says about the Inquisition that the Inquisition is peculiarly the weapon and peculiarly the work of the popes. It stands out from all those things in which they cooperated, followed or assented as the distinctive feature of papal Rome. It was set up, renewed and perfected by a long series of acts emanating from the supreme authority of the Church. No other institution, no doctrine, no teaching, no ceremony is so distinctly the individual creation of the papacy, except the dispensing power. It's the principal thing with which the papacy is identified and by which it must be judged. The principle of the Inquisition is the Pope's sovereign power over life and death. Whoever disobeys him should be tried and tortured and burnt. If that cannot be done, formalities may be dispensed with and the culprit may be killed like an outlaw. That is to say, the principle of the Inquisition is murderous, and a man's opinion of the papacy is regulated and determined by his opinion of religious assassination. So did the English Lord Acton, Roman Catholic, write.
The Roman Catholic Church was not satisfied to put the heretics to death in a humane manner. They continued to devise more horrific tortures in their attempt to make the so-called heretics renounce their faith and accept Roman Catholicism. Things like the Judas chair.
The Judas chair was used in the Spanish Inquisition in particular. It was a pyramid-type seat. The victim was lowered down on this seat so that the pointed end of the
pyramid.
Judas seat, which was this pyramid, penetrated the orifices of both male and females so that they suffered excruciating pain, and there was hope that they would renounce their biblical faith and proclaim their faith in Holy Mother Church. This is just one example.
Other Bible believers were burned at the stake. Burning at the stake was often carried out in front of a large crowd in an auto-da-fe, an occasion of dramatic pomp and festivity.
Those who were burnt at the stake were very often those, of course, who were called heretics, whose faith and biblical convictions carried the most threat to the papacy. And it was almost as if the Roman Church believed that by burning them, both their bodies and their beliefs would disappear into the cinders together. And in England, at the time of the English Reformation in the 16th century and during the reign of Mary Tudor, the eldest daughter of Henry VIII, who became known as Bloody Mary, she was a fervent Catholic, beholden to the Pope, who who brought in the Inquisition to cause the martyrdom of some 288 Protestant martyrs in England. Most of them died because they denied the real presence being Catholic dogma or doctrine or teaching, that Jesus Christ is really present, body, soul, divinity and humanity in the sacrament. The burning back-to-back of Bishops Latimer and Ridley, which took place in Oxford outside Balliol College in 1555, is still well known to many people, as are Latimer's stirring last words, which were an inspiration for centuries to Bible-believing Christians in the English-speaking world mainly. And his words were, "Be of good comfort, Master Ridley, and play the man. We shall this day, by God's grace, light such a candle in England as I trust shall never be put out."
In the movie.
Welcome back to Truth Seekers. You guys have any thoughts, comments you'd like to make?
Yeah, a friend of mine, Isaiah Lopez, just got back last summer from being down in Mexico, and he was horrified in the city, I think it's Guanaco. He went into a church, and they had this horror tour, basically, and it was down into the dungeons below the church, and they showed all these machines designed to rip people apart in different ways. And it was like something that somebody, a cartoon, real demonic mind would dream all this stuff up. And he was like, well, why are they showing this stuff? This is terrible. And then they told him, oh yeah, this stuff was all used in the Spanish Inquisition. And it left him shocked and very upset.
And used in Mexico.
This was in I think it's called Guanaco. I brought the flyer they had for it, and then I left it at home. I thought I had it in the car. I was going to bring it because I was trying to pronounce the name. But it's in Mexico, and it's a horror tour basically, and people go and see it. And he said that some of the people seeing it just thought that some demented mind cooked this stuff up then they're told, no, this was all used by the Spanish in the Spanish Inquisition. It's in this beautiful church, a cathedral. It's in a dungeon next to
in the name of God, Sean, Jesus says, whatsoever you would that men do to you, do you therefore to them. So whatever you want done to you is the way you're supposed to act to others. Now, who would want to be placed in a chair like they showed there? Or they had all these other instruments. They show more instruments in this film. We're not going to show them tonight, such as you're talking about. But Jesus said, "Do unto others as you have them do to you."
Yeah, and
how do you do that?
If you figure that when Jesus is here, obviously he's going to show us the method when he's here on how to convert people, and it was going around and telling them the message.
Reasoning.
Reasoning and doing it in love, and the things he did, he blessed people, not cursed them. And he, with the harlot that was going to be stoned to death, or the woman caught in adultery, he actually stepped in and stopped the judgment. So how does the church move from that to this, to popes sitting around dreaming up machines that are worse than the last pope? Is that their kind of way to fame as well? My machine rips people apart in a more painful way than the last guy.
And there's one thing that you didn't hear. There's been mention.
By the way, David will be right with you. Go ahead, Jay.
There's been a guesstimate during that 600-year Inquisition that up to 50 million were killed, tortured and killed. Up to 50 million. That's an incredible number, and that's a 600-year period. And we have other historic documented accounts from that period to today, and the continuation, not as bad as it was in Inquisition, but in a way, and through a lot of people don't know about the Holocaust and how the church was involved in that, and we can bring up many different types of instances where documented out of their own archives.
Well, Jay,
that's the incredible thing.
The records we kept. Napoleon, when he conquered Italy and everything, and France, when he conquered Italy and just was the emperor of all of Europe, he went in there and he took a lot of their documents out and brought them back to France. And they kept records of all the interviews of the people they tortured.
Wow.
Which is a bizarre thing to be doing, but they did that. Do we still have David on the line? We do. Hi, David. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. I would like to address my comments to Sean. First of all, I'd like to ask where you're from in Ireland.
Oh, Galway, Ireland.
And how long has it been since you lived in Ireland?
Let's see, I lived in Ireland until 1977, and I was